Now broadcasting from his hidden bunker and fully stocked bar, it is the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Thank you and welcome once again, my friends, to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, and amateur javelin thrower. And welcome to AWSM Radio, an independent digital-only radio station that plays today's best music, old school classics, along with a rotating cast of all-star DJs. AWSM Radio focuses on mainstream artists, independent artists, along with a variety of interesting music shows throughout the day, as well as talk shows such as myself. All we do is entertain, inspire, and inform. And my friends, I want you to be part of the conversation. I want you to hit me up on the Twitter, the Rizzle, the Instagram, the Facebook, even on the Cameo at Colt S. Taylor. And you can listen to the podcast version of the show at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor. And of course, if you haven't already, bookmark ColtSebastianTaylor.com for all things Colt Sebastian Taylor. All right, folks, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report. First up this week marks the sad 2-year anniversary of the death of NBA legend Kobe Bryant, along with his daughter Gianna, who were killed in a helicopter crash, along with others 2 years ago in Calabasas, California. This week, a bronze statue of Kobe Bryant and his daughter was placed at the location of the crash site, created by sculptor Dan Medina. Shows Kobe Bryant in his Lakers uniform with his arm around Gianna, who's also wearing a basketball uniform and has a basketball in her hand. The statue has the name of all 9 victims of the helicopter crash on a plaque. Apparently the statue is only going to be temporary. Well, at least the placement of the statue will only be temporary. No word yet on where this statue will eventually end up. In related news, a lawsuit related to the crash is set to go to trial soon for the widow of Kobe Bryant, Vanessa Bryant, who claims that photos of the crash, along with the images of those who died, were widely shared amongst police and firefighters in the county and those who rescued there. And that trial is set to begin on February 22nd. So, like I said, no word where this statue will eventually end up, but a statue honoring the 9 victims of the helicopter crash, which federal authorities determined was due to fog and pilot disorientation, was placed there this week, and already a sizable amount of flowers and sort of souvenirs have been left behind at the statue by fans of Kobe Bryant. In other celebrity news, Macaulay Culkin is now engaged. Sorry, ladies, he is off the market. Macaulay Culkin is engaged to longtime girlfriend Brenda Song, who actually they have a son together named Dakota, who was born, I believe, within the last year. Oh, yes, a 9-month-old son. It's been confirmed through the representatives. She was photographed wearing a diamond ring on her left hand while out and about in Beverly Hills this week. McCulkin, 41, met Song, who's now 33, on the set of Changeland in Thailand, and they were first romantically linked in July 2017 and have been dating ever since. They seem to be a very, very happy couple. The two have kept the relationship secret, although the Dollface, that Song, actress, shared a special Instagram message to her boo in August 2020, stating, "Happy birthday to this magical being. I can sit here and write endlessly about how wonderful, kind, loving, genuine, loyal, honest, and brilliant and hilarious you are. How grateful I am to get to share and do this life thing with you. But firstly, that would take me an eternity, and secondly, you won't even see this because you don't ever use Instagram. Ha 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 ha. My unicorn that I never knew could exist. I'm the luckiest person in the world because I'm in love with you." So that's sweet. That's very sweet. So anyways, Macaulay Culkin, Brenda Song, engaged to be married. She's done a variety of work, but it looks like they're quite happy, and they have a kid together. I don't think I'll be invited to the wedding, but when they do get married, I will have probably mentioned it on a future show. But congratulations to ye old Macaulay Culkin and his new fiancée, Brenda Song. Moving along in music news, do you have Spotify? Are you a fan of Neil Young? Well, you're kind of out of luck because Neil Young's entire catalog of music has been removed from Spotify. As of right now. You probably ask yourself, oh my goodness, what did Neil Young do? Well, he gave Spotify an ultimatum to deal with the vaccine misinformation coming from Joe Rogan's podcast or remove his music, and they decided, well, I guess we'll just remove his music. So his entire catalog has been removed from Spotify. Neil Young, a very, very well-regarded musician, influential to many, many current and previous musicians, did not want to be on Spotify if Joe Rogan continued to spout off vaccine misinformation. According to a statement from Spotify, they said, "We want all the world's music and audio content to be available on Spotify users. With that comes great responsibility in balancing both the safety of listeners and the freedom for creators. We have detailed content policies in place, and we've removed over 20,000 podcast episodes related to COVID since the start of the pandemic. We regret Neil's decision to remove his music from Spotify, but we hope to welcome him back soon." So, Joe Rogan makes them more money than Neil Young does, so hey, capitalism. They said, well, sorry to see you go, but there you go. According to Neil Young, he says in a letter that he published on January 24th, "I am doing this because Spotify is spreading fake information about vaccines, potentially causing death to those who believe the information being spread by them. They can have Rogan or Young, but not both." In a follow-up letter, he said that this would be a huge loss for his record company to absorb. He would be losing 60% of his revenue globally, but could not continue to support Spotify's, quote, life-threatening misinformation to the music-loving public. He said in his letter, "I truly want to thank many, many people who have reached out to thank me for taking this position. People who are health professionals on the front lines, people who have lost loved ones to COVID, or who are worried for their children and families. I've never felt so much love coming from so many. I sincerely hope that other artists and recording companies will move off of Spotify platform and stop supporting Spotify's deadly misinformation about COVID-19. Anyways, yes, Joe Rogan has been frequently bashed for spreading misinformation about vaccines on his program. In fact, he was recently embarrassed by a guest, who probably won't be on again. In December, a group of 270 doctors and medical professionals wrote an open letter calling for Spotify to mitigate the spread of misinformation. Shortly after, he had on Dr. Robert Malone, known vaccine skeptic who promoted baseless theories about COVID-19 vaccines on his podcast. I have had my own run-ins with anti-vaxxers on Twitter. They all point to this Dr. Malone as the source of their information with a handy link to the Joe Rogan podcast. So, I mean, hey, listen, I'm not going to tell Spotify what to do. They are a company. They have big companies, can make whatever decisions they want that's good for their bottom line. However, if other musicians and record companies decide to do this, Spotify may want to revisit their position. As much as Spotify is great for people listening to music, it is awful for musicians, cheapening their work that they do there, time in and time out. They do not really do that great with kicking out royalties and whatnot. You, of course, can listen to my show, the podcast, on Spotify as well, where I make absolutely nothing whatsoever off of Spotify. Ooh, Spotify, the Hyundai Tucson of music streamers. But anyways, I will see if any other artists decide to walk away from ye old Spotify, or Neil Young realizes that, you know what, that 60%, okay, need that back. We'll see if he comes back. But I will keep a relatively close eye on this for you, and let you know if anyone else decides to, skedaddle. Moving along, although Neil Young has left Spotify, my friends, you don't need to worry about my pal DC leaving AWSM Radio. In fact, you can listen to him 3 times. That's right. First off is DC's Live in Effect show, mixing up on Fridays at 9 p.m., Sundays at 10 p.m., and you don't want to miss it while he kicks the beats from his South Florida, smashing on the 1s and 2s. That's DC Live in Effect. And now, my friends, a new show, the DC House Party Saturdays. DC brings his freestyling DJ to the max. House Party Saturdays gives you the Miami vibe without actually having to fly down to Yield, Florida. From the top clubs to bars, DC will bring the party to you Saturdays at 10 p.m. So just to recap, my friends, Fridays at 9 p.m., DC live in effect. Saturdays at 10 p.m., the DC House Party Saturdays. And then again, Sundays at 10 p.m., DC live in effect once again. Listen to it, my friends. You will not be disappointed whatsoever. DC, multiple times. My best pal, my DJ, DC, multiple times here on AWSM Radio. Moving along, folks, there is an exclusive club on YouTube. Folks who have videos that have crossed 1 billion views. Well, my friends, they have a new member of this club, and her name is Cyndi Lauper. That's right. Girls Just Want to Have Fun has crossed 1 billion views on YouTube. This is the singer's first entry into this exclusive club. It is her recording of Girls Who Just Want to Have Fun. Was released in 1983 on her debut album, She's So Unusual, becoming a breakthrough hit and feminist anthem. It was first uploaded to YouTube in 2009 in October, so it took, 12 years, 12 years to get there, but 13 years to get there, but she is now there. Girls Just Want to Have Fun is only the fifth song to cross 1 billion views on YouTube, followed by Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child of Mine, a-ha's Take Me On, Michael Jackson's Billie Jean, and of course, this makes sense, Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up. Lauper, commenting on her hit song and video, said that many people don't realize that it is it's a political song. The rendition of the song was written by Robert Hazard and first performed in 1979. Lauper said, quote, "When I got my feminist hands on Girls Just Want to Have Fun, I knew I wanted to make it into an anthem for all women. Sonically, I wanted the song to be uplifting and joyful. When it came time to make the video, it was really important to me to make sure we include some women from all walks of life. I wanted every little girl watching the video to have the joyful experience of seeing herself on that screen. I wanted us to be a community." And also Lou Albano was also in that video as well, a famous wrestler. Lauper added, "Back when we made the video, there was no YouTube, so when you think about it, it's really extraordinary the reach this song has, the longevity. That people still purposely seek this video out and press play. Wow, I'm really grateful. Thank you." So, Cyndi Lauper has sold more than 50 million records worldwide. The first woman to have 4 top 5 singles from a debut album, She's So Unusual, and was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame and awarded a Hollywood Walk of Fame star in 2016. And Lauper's advocacy, oh boy, that's a tough one. Advocacy work has included co-founding True Colors United in 2008 to fight and end homelessness among LGBTQ plus youth. So she is just a really, really great person. And I mean, I'm never going to get 1 billion views, but if there's someone that has to, I think Cyndi Lauper is a great person to get 1 billion views for that. Actually, it's a very good song and a great music video as well. I suggest you check it out. In other entertainment news, it is very popular these days to have old series from the 80s and 90s movies and series to restart again later, many with the same actors and actresses from before. For example, Cobra Kai, which is a continuation of the Karate Kid saga. That's one. Fuller House, which was a continuation of Full House. And also the Mighty Ducks have a series as well on Disney Plus, relaunched with Emilio Estevez returning as the coach of the Mighty Ducks. But he is coach no more in the second series. Emilio Estevez has left, and the coach will be portrayed by Josh Duhamel, which I believe I've seen elsewhere. I just can't quite place him at the moment. But he will come in as a new character and the new coach of the Mighty Ducks. Now, allegedly, this was a contract dispute between Mighty Ducks Game Changers, that's the name of the series, a dispute between Disney and Emilio Estevez. Emilio Estevez says that it was a creative difference that he left. Other people say, according to those working on the series, is that he had issues with the COVID vaccine mandate being implemented on Disney's set as well. So he's saying that he is about the vaccine. He's saying it is about the creative differences. Folks associated with programs says he had issues with the vaccine mandate. So not sure which one it is. No one's really saying for sure. I mean, Estevez is saying, nope, not the vaccine stuff. It was all about creative differences. So, I don't know. But regardless, Mr. Estevez is not in the second season of the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, and the coach will be now portrayed by someone new named Josh Duhamel, who will now be portraying Gavin Cole, former NHL player turned coach, who is described as inspirational, charming, and hardcore, as he is big on the hockey metaphor that applies to life. So we shall see how that show does. Next up, folks, we'll talk about inflation. 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 The popular subject of uncles and aunts and Facebook memes everywhere. Inflation is out of control in this country, thanks to Joe Biden. In fact, I remember a time where you could go to Walmart and buy a child for pennies on the dollar. Now it costs $500,000 if you just want to buy a child at a Walmart. Yes, I'm sorry. Did you not hear about that? Yes, a Texas woman demanded to buy a child from a mother at a Walmart in Texas for $500,000. Yes, that's right. Her first offer was a cool $250,000, but you know what? The mother was playing hardball, so she upped it to $500,000. So apparently, Rebecca Lynette Taylor, no relation to Colt Sebastian Taylor, don't get that mixed up, began commenting on a child's blonde hair and blue eyes. Oh boy. And she asked how much she could buy him for. The mother laughed it off and thought it was just, oh, well, you know, this is just a joke that mothers say. But Taylor said, I have $100,000 in the car, and that's how much I would pay in cash. No questions asked. Mother politely declined. Taylor, who was with another woman, who asked what the child's name was, and the mother did not give it. They kind of followed her around the store. Then when the woman left, the woman, Taylor, no relation, began screaming at the woman, saying that if she wouldn't take $100,000, she would give her $500,000 because she wanted him and she was going to take him. Well, as you may imagine, the mother got in her car, locked the door, called the police. The Taylor left the scene in a black SUV with the other woman. Surveillance footage caught everything on camera, and then police issued a warrant. She eventually was arrested and held in Houston County Jail on a $50,000 fine. Now, the Texas Penal Code says this is illegal, as one may imagine, and is a third-degree felony. Shall be punished by imprisonment in an institutional division for any term not more than 10 years or not less than 2 years. In addition to imprisonment, the individual may be fined for up to $10,000. So, I'm just going to have to go on a limb here and think there might be some, I don't know, mental health issues there. You don't generally see that kind of stuff in a Walmart. And I'm going to have to guess that maybe the $100,000 in one's car may have been just a bunch of newspapers wrapped up in a large pile. So she's going to get help one way or another, either in jail or through a mental health institute. But boy, $500,000 for a baby in Texas. I guess everything is bigger in Texas, even the baby costs. Now, if there's one thing that is unaffected by inflation, it is the amazing awesomeness of the rock sessions. It is our drive time show here on AWSM Radio, making sure that your evening commute home is fun, featuring the hottest music on the charts and some other surprises in between. My Pal Rocks will make it rock styles, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., right here on AWSM Radio. Next up, Shark attacks. Just when you thought it was safe to go back to the beach and swim again, the University of Florida's International Shark Attack File, ISAF, reported a almost 30% increase in shark attacks in 2021. Published this week, there were 73 unprovoked shark bites on people last year, an increase of 28% compared to 57 in 2020. The number of fatalities remained stable, with 11 in 2021 compared to 13 in 2020. There is a large range of speculation of why shark bites have increased. And they think that last year, as the pandemic began to began to ease a bit, more people went to the beach and more people were swimming compared to 2020, and therefore there were more opportunities for sharks to take bites out of people. The report shows that the Earth, most attacks were taking place the small island area of New Catalonia, which is a French, protectorate, I guess. I don't know. In South Pacific, reported the most with 2 shark fatalities. Australia had 1. Australia usually gets top billing for fatal shark attacks due to the large numbers of great white sharks and tiger sharks in the area. And also Australia, also a place where a lot of people like to go and visit. Now, New Catalonia also has a very large tourism industry. A lot of French citizens go to visit New Catalonia because it's part of France, so they have to go through customs. It's just basically going to Hawaii, basically, in terms of what France and New Catalonia is. Other places like Hawaii, Reunion, and New Catalonia, they're known as seamounts. And there are some pretty large sharks in that area. Tiger sharks and bull sharks are known for them hanging out around coral reefs, which attract a lot of tourists. The more tourists are going there, the more likely they are about to get encounters with a shark and whatnot. But the place where it has the most shark bites in the world, my friends, Florida. Yes, Florida has 28 bites recorded last year. Actually, no, 47 in the United States, of which 28 happened in Florida. There we are. So, being that there's a lot of coastline, a lot of places for sharks to take bites, but there was only 1 fatality in the United States from a shark attack last year. And the likelihood of there to be fatality really deals with the size of the shark. The sharks are bigger in Australia and New Caledonia, whereas the sharks in this area that do biting aren't as big. You don't see as many great white sharks in the Florida area or along the Atlantic coast. However, they are seeing more sharks along the Atlantic coast, more towards the northern Atlantic coast in New England. Why, you ask? Because the North Atlantic seal population has rebounded. Under the Marine Mammal Act of 1972, seals are now protected. They are a common food for sharks, and as their numbers have stabilized, and increased, there are more great white sharks in the area. But the sharks that are attacking there are younger sharks, not newer sharks. According to a scientist, he says, we see more white sharks in New England. We see that there's a lot of bites by white sharks on people that are not being done by 17-foot females, but by 13-foot teenagers. Most bites are naive animals that are more likely to make a mistake. If you're a 40-year-old white shark who has been around the block a bit, you know the difference between a seal and a surfer. But if you're only a 4-year-old white shark excited to see seals in the area and pushed by a wave towards where humans are in the water, you're more than likely to make a mistake. We think that it is very likely that over the long term, the incidence of bites in New England will go up at the hands or teeth of white sharks. These are large animals, and there will be a higher proportion of them that will be a fatal. They'll be a fatal compared to, say, black tip sharks. So I can imagine in the future there'll be, unfortunately, more fatalities. So, as waters are getting a little bit warmer, sharks have a little bit larger area of, they can inhabit. There's more seals. now because they're being protected. Therefore, more sharks to eat them. Have more baby sharks. Therefore, more sharks in the area. Therefore, likely more shark attacks or shark bites along the Atlantic coast in the area. But be more fatalities, but because these sharks are smaller, the sharks in Australia or New Caledonia, probably less fatalities than out there, but I guess we'll just have to see. So, friends, as always, if you're going to be out and about in the beach, it is best to swim in waters being monitored by lifeguards. If they do see a shark in the water, they get everyone out of the water. They're there for your safety. It's just good to keep up with reports. So, just be careful when you're out there, because that was no boating accident. I'll find your shark for $1,000. For $1,000 more, I'll get you the fins and the tips. I'll find him, I'll kill him, and I'll bring him aboard. That is my impression of Quinn from Jaws. Thank you very much. Moving along, friends, but keeping with science, the James Webb Space Telescope has finally arrived in its orbit, being launched into space a while back ago. I think about a month ago. It is not orbiting the Earth, but it is orbiting what is known as I'm probably saying this wrong, the second Sun-Earth Lagrange point, aka L2. I don't know what that means, and I'm not going to look it up, but it's a very special point because it apparently provides a largely unobstructed view of space while giving the spacecraft a cold, interference-free position that helps its instruments live up to their full potential. So it is a perfect place for a telescope like this to be. It's going to be able to get data and get pictures that would not be available from the Hubble telescope, which is currently orbiting Earth. This is orbiting quite a distance away from Earth. So basically, it was shot off from Earth, and it is went out towards Earth, and now is doing another circle around a point in Earth between the Earth and the Sun. That's very important, and will now orbit this point as it orbits Earth. I don't know if it moves around or not, but it's going around in a circle around a point between Earth and the Sun, and apparently it's a very important point. Anyways, this is a brand new telescope, cost $10 billion, and is hoping to get amazing pictures using infrared light. However, it is not going to be able to get pictures until the next few months. It's still opening up, adjusting, calibrating its instruments in space and whatnot before it can take pictures. It is a sophisticated observatory away from Earth. They are widely different, but it's considered to be the spiritual successor to the Hubble telescope, which is much older and is in rough shape. That telescope probably won't be lasting too much longer, and especially that once this telescope is up and running, they will probably shut down the Hubble telescope and have it burn up back on reentry. They keep going, they're trying to fix it and whatnot. I mean, it's an old telescope. It's been up there for quite a while. I believe, oh gosh, when did that go up there? Originally, it was kind of a big joke. The Hubble telescope, they sent up there, and the lenses weren't working correctly. So it actually didn't provide very good pictures at first. And then they had to send a second mission up there to replace the mirrors in there in order to get a good picture once again. Apparently, the lens was a 1.3 millimeters out of position. So like the 0.051 inches, and therefore it could not get clear picture, so it had to get back up there again and fix it. The Hubble telescope was first launched in 1990, and then it was fixed in 1993. They went up there and fixed it and made amazing pictures. I remember when I was in middle school and high school, not to date myself, in the 90s, look at these amazing pictures from the Hubble telescope. What amazing pictures. These are the clearest, amazing pictures we had ever seen. And it was pretty amazing. So the Hubble telescope has been up there for over 30 years, and it is in rough shape. There's a lot of stuff up there, and they will likely start to retire it at some point in the future. They think that, Well, they have a contract to maintain it until June 2021. So they are that date has already passed. So it's up there, and eventually it will decay and start to fall back into the atmosphere based on the drag from atmosphere, solar activity, etc., etc. If it's just let go by itself, it will re-enter the Earth's atmosphere between 2028 and 2040, which is kind of a big time span. So they'll probably send something up there once they are done with it and help direct it back into the atmosphere, into the ocean. But there's still a lot of interest in it. They may try to push it further beyond that. We'll see. But anyways, the Jim Webb Telescope up in the sky. Check him out in a few months. Be taking some pictures of the universe and sending it back to Earth. Speaking of launches, there's a new show here at AWSM Radio, newly launched, To the Rack with Mac. To the Rack with Mac is your go-to spot for all things basketball. Join NBA expert Mac Daddy as he brings you a full hour of high-flying hoops expertise. You want to tune in for all things NBA Wednesdays at 9 p.m. right here on AWSM Radio. So listen to the Rack with Mac. If you are a basketball fiend, you will not be disappointed. Wednesdays at 9 p.m. right here on AWSM Radio. Next up, my friends, we go to Virginia. Virginia is for lovers, but it's not for teachers, apparently. New Governor Glenn Youngkin, when he assumed office, said that he would address critical race theory in schools in Virginia. Although it is not currently being taught there, he's going to address it. So, basically making an analogy of, I'm going to put out this fire if you make me in charge. Well, there's no fire. I will put it out. It's basically what he ran on. Well, anyways, he launched an email address this week so parents could send tips in to teachers that they believe were behaving, quote, objectionably. So basically, put up against an email, say if you think your kids are being taught something they shouldn't be taught, you can let the governor of Virginia know and he'll take care of it. So it got widespread criticism from not only James Fetterman, the president of the Virginia Education Association of Teachers, as well as singer John Legend, believed that designed to intimidate teachers who were trying to do their jobs. Well, back last year, Texas set up a tip line for people to call to report doctors who were giving out abortions, to monitor, make sure that everyone was following the law. We'll let us know if there's any doctors who are violating the abortion law. Well, fun thing about emails and phone lines and phone numbers, they're available to everyone, and not everyone's on board with this. So, apparently, tens of thousands of people are spamming this line with fake tips, just basically making it so unbelievably useless that they can't use it to put pressure on teachers. Sophia Angale, a 21-year-old from Santa Clara, California, said that she set up a website that automatically generates emails to send to the tip line. The email includes the name of Virginia Public School and the lyrics of a pop song. You can see, so for example, these are pretty funny. The example is, child learning racism. So I think Maggie L's Walker Governor's School for Government and International Studies in Richmond is teaching race. I overheard my son saying, I don't want to meet your daddy, I just want you in my candy, Another report, I have reason to believe that James River High School is teaching racism. My son's teacher said, that's the trick that it takes to keep the girls. I think Douglas S. Freeman High School in Richmond is teaching racism. I overheard my daughter say, 'cause I'm a beast, bitch. Grrr. Invader Zim. So basically, they're using lyrics from Hey Ya by Outkast, Material Girl by Saucy Santana, and Bonfire by Childish Gambino to fill out these emails automatically. So far, around 1,500 people have been sending emails out every 30 minutes, and over 24,000 people have visited the website since, let's see here, this week. It's not clear how many emails each person sends, but they can send a lot. Quote, this teenager, I'm indescribably angry with right-wing pundits trying to stoke non-existent division in the U.S. is actively being labeled as the U.S. is actively being labeled as backsliding in democracy. So, people are spamming this website and this email with fake tips so that no one can actually do anything with it to put pressure on teachers. And I think that is great. I mean, I quit teaching a long time ago because of dumb stuff like this. Governor Youngkin does not know what he's talking about. This is basically a fundraising subject line that has ballooned out of control. So, let teachers do their job. Curriculum is decided by school boards, etc., etc. If you don't like the curriculum, run for school board and be a jerk on there. You don't need to be spying on teachers. That's why folks like me don't teach anymore, and I should be because I'm a wonderful person, because of idiots like that. So, good luck with your tip line, buddy. I'm sure you'll learn some lyrics to some Outkast songs at the very least. After that story, you probably ask yourself, what's going on? Well, I'll tell you what's going on. It's a show that we have on here. What's going on is our Fox Sports affiliate show, providing listeners with over 150 combined years of sports knowledge, hosted by Nate Brown and his crew, have a staple of Western New York sports for the past 2 decades and are now moving national. They're national now, folks, and you can listen to them also on Wednesdays at 10 p.m., right after To the Rack with Mac. You can listen to What's Going On right here on AWSM Radio Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Check it out. Finally, this week marked the end of current Jeopardy champion Amy Schneider's winning streak. She won for 40 straight weeks on Jeopardy, coming into second place. Her total winnings during her historic run was $1,382,800, put her in fourth place behind Matt Amadeo, who won $1.5 million, James Holzer, who won $2.4 million, and all-time Jeopardy winning champion in terms of money, Ken Jennings, at $2.5 million. The question that she was stumped on was the only nation in the world whose English name ends with an H, and also one of the top 10 most populous nations of the world. And the answer is, what is Bangladesh? What is Bangladesh? She made history when she surpassed Matt Amio as the second most winning contestant and the longest running game show. She also made headlines in December when she won for the most consecutive wins by a woman at 21. And she is the first openly transgender contestant to qualify for their Tournament of Champions. So congratulations to Amy Schneider. She is going to be in the Jeopardy Tournament of Champions later, whenever they have that happen. But had a historic winning streak of 40 straight weeks from 40 straight weeks of being a Jeopardy contestant, that winning contestant. That is pretty amazing. I myself actually know somebody who was on Jeopardy and also won 2 nights in a row. So not quite 40, but he did pretty good. My pal Brandon from New Jersey. Well, my friends, that is the final story here on the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Remember, you can find me on the Twitter, on the Rizzle, on the Instagram, and the Cameo at Colt S. Taylor. Subscribe to the podcast version of the show at at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor. I'm also on a weekly Dungeons & Dragons podcast as well. I'm all over the place, so please find me, say hello. I always enjoy the attention. And of course, if you haven't already, save ColtSebastianTaylor.com for all your Colt Sebastian Taylor needs. Until next time, my wonderful, fantastic friends, when I see you next, it'll be February. But until then, I am, of course, your friend, the one, the only, Colt Sebastian Taylor. And I'll see you next week. Or even later.